Today we're going to talk about how this drone dives. We're going to try some shots of it diving through canyons and just other locations, not from too high elevation, just to visually see how well it does so you can get an idea of what to expect should you purchase this drone. It is being flown with an O3 Air unit, DJI controller 2, and DJI Goggles 2. So that is the setup. So now we got the goggle view of this same dive. We can see our speed is almost 100 miles an hour. Might have actually been a different dive. Same location though. And it's pretty clear. This drone flies fast. So now we're going for this canyon over here. It's a little bit further away, and we definitely risk losing line of sight if we drop down into it. So we'll just see how it does. We're not all the way at the top of it. Pop in, boom. Again, if there's a theme to this, it's that this drone flies fast. It is much easier to control in the 30 to 60 kilometer an hour speed range, especially in a dive. And that's what you're seeing in this. Jumping to another approach, gaining a little more altitude this time. Oh, distraction by a bird. That was cool. Might as well use that altitude to enter the canyon higher, dive a little steeper, and see how we do. So once again, this thing is fast. Aiming for the waterway, trying to come in hot but not too low. Don't want to hit the fence. Popping around the trees. Pretty smooth, pretty amazing. All right, let's take a look at that from the goggle view here. Coming in just over 40 kilometers an hour. About 300 meters away from the fly point. We can see that the HD and RC connection's fine. Plenty of satellites on the GPS. Battery's looking good. And let's see how our signal does when we drop below this canyon rim. Dropping in, increasing speed. Signal's great, no problems. Now we never got much further than half a kilometer on that dive, so we're well within the 10 kilometer no interference rating of this O3 Air unit and DJI controller 2. Okay, let's take a look at this dive right about when we got distracted by that bird, gained elevation. So at this point we're just under half a kilometer away from the home point, and we can see that in those clouds we started to lose signal, and as soon as that happened we just entered the dive, diving at 71 kilometers an hour. And it's a good dive. Losing signal, getting closer to the ground there. You hate it when that happens. When you see that orange bar, you just have visions of the drone falling from the sky. So it's a little nerve-wracking to see that so close to the flying point. And I don't think there's that much radio propagation here that could be causing interference. I just think that this particular flight setup isn't that great for strong signal past 100 kilometers or close to the ground, over 400, close to half a kilometer away or close to the ground over 400 meters away. Let's look at one last dive in this flight location. So we'll approach the same hill at about, what is our altitude here? Looks like it's just over 20 meters. maybe 30 meters. And climbing, okay, maybe 40 meters. And we can see this guy just cruising in the 30-kilometer range, pivoting around. So we're going to go into that gap there between the trees, aiming right for it, bombing straight down, peaking at about 80 kilometers an hour. So much fun. This thing is amazing for diving close to where you're flying. Okay, we can see a bit of a smokestack there. It's a phallic symbol right on the ridgeline. So we'll fly to that, climb up the ridgeline, and dive down. Once again, we're seeing a similar pattern to the other footage. This drone is flying fast. Pivoting around the tower, we can see a single track trail there going through the trees. So we'll just kind of follow that up in elevation. The other thing I'll say is this video is pretty smooth. If you fly smooth, the video is smooth. There's no post-processing on this, which will be obvious to some users, but maybe not everybody. Okay, pivoting around to start the dive. Boom. Kind of going for that rocky crag there. Falling really fast. And tipping back, heading towards the dam. And you can see we're dropping and just flying so much faster in the dive than we were in the climb. So let's have a look at that from the goggle view. All right, here we go. We can see signal loss just over 500 meters right on the other side of that ridge line. That's scary, but popping up in elevation, trying to maintain more of a line of sight. And we're just closer now. That keeps us under that 400 meters. So, oh, and we're getting more of the yellow. Altitude over 180. Oh, a little bit of red. It's so annoying to be so close and to get those red signal issues. Going into the dive. So again, the O3 air unit controller receiver is supposed to be 10 kilometers range. Definitely not seeing that in these flight locations. Okay, another round at this. This time going straight over that smokestack, climbing the same single track. A little jittery in the video, but let's just call that pilot error. This thing climbs so fast. You can see some tall cypress trees right there in the center of the screen. Oh, pivoting around, probably a signal issue. And we're diving. There's a lot of light on this hillside right now. The sun's shining directly on it, which kind of blows out the exposure a little bit. The greens are a little more washed out. Coming in really hot. All right, let's look at it from the goggle view and see what we see. Climbing fast, closer between 50 and 60 kilometers an hour. Staying in that 400 to 500 meters, oh, over 500 meters now, and we get yellow and a little bit of red at 571. So we turn around and we start our dive, flying fast, trying to get good signal back. Coming in hot. Altitudes under 200 meters, 80 kilometers an hour. Oh my gosh, feels like you're gonna hit the ground. Pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Still flying super fast. So let's do that again. We'll skip the approach this time, pivot around, go straight into the dive. It looks like we're coming in from a higher elevation this time. Kind of aiming at the smokestack. Still well above the canopy of the trees. Getting closer, we can see quite a bit of wind flying across. Man, it's nerve-wracking. Okay, here we go. We'll see a little bit more of the approach in the goggle view this time. Last time for this video. And now we are at the top of the dive location. Getting those signal issues closer to 600 meters this time. Altitude was close to 400. Coming in the 75 to 100 kilometers, 120 kilometers. Definitely the fastest dive. You can see the wind blowing through the trees there, passing over them at 100 kilometers an hour. Damn, this thing's fast. And that, my friends, is all we got for you today. If you're a more experienced pilot than me, and you have feedback on how I could improve the distance I can safely fly this thing and dive it, which is really fun flying style, please let me know in the comments below. If nothing else, thanks for watching. We'll see you around.